The old man startled me when I heard him say nice truck boy. No one has called me boy in 35 years and I hadn't heard him shuffle up behind me because he was wearing socks without shoes, a pair of pants belted halfway up his chest and a partially tucked in button-down shirt. He was hunched over a bit and his ice blue eyes, I knew from experience, could be seeing anything from what was in front of him, to some memory or horror of many years in his past. Thanks Marine, I said to him. He had a real name, but I never remembered it. I had always called him Marine out of respect for his service during the Second World War. He walked around the truck looking, but not touching. I looked back at his house hoping to see his wife coming to corral him up. At any point the man could suffer a dementia episode and I didn't want him damaging my new truck and really didn't want to try to restrain him without hurting him. Marine was telling me about a truck he'd owned at some point in his life while I put my cleaning tools back in the garage. It was a 1952 Ford he remembered having. He recalled the day drove it to pick up his now wife, driving it to his wedding and the day he wrecked it in a snowstorm. The memories were perfectly clear to him in those moments. I glanced over hoping to see his wife, but she still hadn't appeared. I'll give you $2 if you take me for a ride. Huh? I stammered. You really want a ride? Damn it Kyle. I gave you that house. Take me for a ride and I'll give you $2. My name isn't Kyle, and he didn't give me my house. I bought it from a realtor 4 years ago after my wife left me. What about your wife? Won't she wonder where you're at? I asked. That damn woman always knows where I'm at. I told her I was coming to look at your truck, now take me for a ride. What the hell? I said to myself. A few weeks back he threatened me with a broom. I've heard him call me dunderhead, fribble, ninnyhammer and or a scoundrel. 2 of them I had to look up. I didn't know why and didn't think it'd be too bad to take him around the block. We'd be back in 2 minutes and maybe he'd go home. He needed help getting into the passenger seat. He grumbled about the seat belt, but I told him I'd take him for a ride but wasn't getting a ticket for him. I drove sedately because I didn't want to frighten him or give him a heart attack. Come on boy, let's get this beach dirty, he said as I made the third right turn and was ready to take him back home. For the second time in 10 minutes, I asked myself, what the hell? Okay, Marine, but don't you freaking die on me. I took him a mile out of town to the 2 tracks one of my sons told me about. I opened up the V8 and all 4 tires through dirt. The old man laughed and grabbed the handhold over the door with both hands. That's better. Kyle, he said as we bounced along the trail. I didn't care if he knew my name. In those few moments I was Kyle. I drove through mud, splashed water higher than the truck, hit potholes like I was 18 years old and trying to impress a date and gunned the engine like the truck wasn't mine. The old man laughed and coughed and dribbled spittle, but he was having a good time. We spent about 10 minutes on the 2 track before finding a dirt road. The Marine was breathing heavily, but he was smiling a toothless grin. I guess he forgot to put in his dentures. I drove him back home, helped him out of the truck and let him hold onto my arm as he toddled back up the walk to his house. I had to walk slow because the man had worn himself out. His wife met us at the door. Her face was covered in scorn. Marine waved her off. Just stop it woman. Kyle just took me for a ride in his new truck. Give him $2. He then took her hand as she helped him up the steps. She looked at me and said, thank you, Kyle, using Marine's name for me instead of my real name, which she knew. I drove my truck back to my place to wash and wax it again. It had been fun driving the old Marine down the 2 tracks and the truck handled perfectly. It was worth it, even though I didn't get my $2. The old Marine died last night in his sleep. I heard the ambulance early this morning but didn't know it was him. Sarah, his wife, came over around 8 a.m. to tell me. She said he talked about Kyle's truck the rest of the night that Saturday and she was happy he had a good time. His funeral is this Saturday and Sarah asked if I'd carry his casket in the back of my truck. I think the Marine would like that.